Early start for your campers. Hope you're all well. As we always ask you to do at the beginning of any of our streams, please don't forget to like, comment on and share the stream to your social media platforms. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. And make sure you hit that bell icon. You'll be alerted on new content as and when it's added to the channel. As always, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you very much indeed for your support in this particular matter. And speaking of support, Forged from Iron is proud to support Iron Supporting Food Banks. They are a group of West Ham United fans and friends inspired by the work of other football fan food banks around the country. They collect food and cash donations from Newham Food Bank in Beckton, who supply 7 distribution centres in the borough, 7 days a week, and hand out several hundred 3-day emergency food packs every month to families in need. They are also working with other groups to improve conditions for vulnerable adults and children in the Newham community. They are supported in their efforts by West Ham United Football Club, the WHU Foundation, LS185, London Legacy Development Corporation, Newham Council, the Met Police, Spire London East Hospital, Expedient Security, and a large number of West Ham and football fans. You can help by making a donation to their Just Giving page. You will find the link to this in the description section of the video details in this stream. Thank you for your support. Come on, you Irons. Okay, so let's get down to it. We are here to discuss our trip tomorrow to Old Trafford, the Theatre of Dreams, as they like to term it. Matchday 13 of 38 in the Premier League. Duke, what do you suspect awaits us? Because Ronaldo has now been restored to the starting squad. He made his return. It was a brief sort of period away, it has to be said. It wasn't anything sort of like a long exodus from the team. But he come back, he scored a goal, and are you expecting to see him in the starting lineup, or what are you expecting to see?
I think there's kind of there's a clash of the Titans, Rob, behind the scenes at the minute. Okay. And one of them is Cristiano Ronaldo, and one of them is Erik ten Hag. Now, I've always said, and I maintain this regardless of the player, that no player is bigger than the club. No player is bigger than the club. And I don't care if you're Cristiano Ronaldo or Lionel Messi. No player is bigger than the club. I also maintain that Manchester City played a very good game. That when they announced they were interested in signing Cristiano Ronaldo, that they played Manchester United's hand for them. There are some, I'm going to use the word plebs to keep it polite, because although it's after 9 o'clock, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. There are some plebs out there that are Manchester United fans that feel that Erik ten Hag has disrespected Cristiano Ronaldo, that Cristiano Ronaldo should be treated differently because he's Cristiano Ronaldo, that Cristiano Ronaldo should be treated different because he's an icon, a legend, etc. Rubbish. Absolute rubbish. If Cristiano Ronaldo isn't pulling his weight, Cristiano Ronaldo gets dropped. If Cristiano Ronaldo isn't fitting what Erik ten Hag is trying to do at United, then let him go. You know, I've seen stuff that, you know, he wanted to leave in the window and Erik ten Hag said no, and now he's benched him and everyone's all, oh, you can't do that to Cristiano. No. So, you know, a lot of stuff has been made over the last, 10 days or so, up until Thursday night's game, which he came back and scored. What I will say is I watched some of the highlights on that, Robert. He's a greedy bastard. He wanted to come back and score regardless. There was so many times he tried to go it alone when the easier pass was, Rashford or someone else. And he sliced shots wide. He forced himself down channels that he wouldn't normally, but because he wanted to make a point, he kind of didn't pay natural game, if you will. I personally think he's a massive disruptive influence on that side. As I said before, they signed Jadon Sancho for £75 million in the same transfer window that they signed Cristiano Ronaldo on the final day of that transfer window. The idea was that Jadon Sancho was going to be their marquee signing. He was going to be this player. All of a sudden, City have Man U, no, we are. And it did. I personally think it disrupted the entire setup at United. Not to say he's not a good player, but you go around the world and find me how many 37-year-olds are still playing top flight football regularly. Do I think, who is it that said about, it was you, actually, I think. Football player's career, uphill. No, it wasn't you. Goes uphill.
No, it wasn't me. It was you.
No, it wasn't. No, I
No.
that.
Was it JP? JP the other night, wasn't it?
That was it. You go uphill, you spend time at the top, and then you come down the other side. It was JP the other night. Well, unfortunately, this is Ronaldo now, and he's got to understand that. As much as he thinks he'll do everything that he wants to do, time catches up with us all. Do I think he'll be a difference maker tomorrow? More than likely, I've said everything I've said.
Normally happens a bit like when you turned around and said about a certain Norwegian that wasn't going to score a bucket load of goals in the Premier League, and look what happened next. But there you go. Joseph's in. Hope you're well. He says no player should be treated different. It breeds a negative atmosphere inside the club. I do agree with that. I know that Cristiano Ronaldo is a great player. Had a fantastic spell at Manchester United the first time round. Well-renowned star and all the rest of it. He's whatever's worth winning, he's won it in his career pretty much as far as club football's concerned anyway. But I've said this so many times, Duke, and you'll bear this out. I always turn around and say, never go back. Never go back. Because second time around, very, very seldom is it as good as first time around. I mean, there's a few exceptions to that rule. I think you could turn around and point to and go, yes, but this person was better the second time round. But more often than not, when you look at someone that's gone back to a club, whether it's 2 spells as a player, whether it's a spell as a player and a manager or whatever, the second time around isn't quite the same as the first. I mean, I remember, and this isn't West Ham related, but I remember Howard Kendall was manager of Everton Football Club 3 times. The first time he won the league title twice. He won an FA Cup. He won a European Cup Winners' Cup. Fantastic. He then went off. I think he went to Real Sociedad from memory, or a team like that in Spain, or Athletic Bilbao, whatever. And he came back, and like I say, the next 2 times he come back from memory, he was involved in relegation battles. It's never the same. I say never the same. Very rarely the same. I mean, you say that. I would point to his goals and appearance record, Mark. I think that in his first spell at the club, Tony Cottee had a better record than he did in the first time. I'm not saying he was crap in the second spell. Far from it. He was still very, very effective. But when you look at his goals per game output, his first spell is no comparison. It was far, far better. But there you go. That's just my opinion. That's an opinion I've always held. Like I say, I don't think it's something. Like I say, I'm a big believer. Never go back. But there you go. Anyway, let's have a little look here, Duke. I haven't got all of my usual bits and pieces prepped. I just haven't had the time. I'll be brutally honest. But before we get into that, if anyone's interested in the officials that are going to be involved tomorrow, the referee will be Chris Kavanagh. The assistants will be Lee Betts and Ian Hussin. The fourth official will be Jared Gillette. The VAR will be Paul Tierney, and his assistant will be Steve Meredith. So
I'm just confident about that, Rob. I'm confident with those with the officials there, because apparently one of them's the best a man can get. Oh, come on.
Tumbleweed going past. Right, okay, I'm going to share this with the class. Right, so that there is our record against Manchester United in all competitions, home and away. We've won 46, we've drawn 32, and we have lost 71. I'll just go full screen because people at home might want to see it a little bit better. If I whiz down right to the very bottom, because a lot of these, like I say, our first meeting was there in an FA Cup tie at Upton Park, 25th of February 1911. No, Duke, I was not there. But we won that one. We actually won the first two matches we played against them, the second of which was actually on Christmas Day. Look at that. Ain't bad. But then we wind down and we come to more recent times. Let's have a little look. And get lost. It's not quite so rosy. So our last fixture, 22nd of Jan, was a 1-0 defeat at Old Trafford, which, if you remember, that was Alphonse Areola. I think that was his one and only Premier League appearance, bless him. And it looked like he was going to get a clean sheet until the dying embers of the match. And I think it was, from memory, it was Ryan Fredericks gave the ball away. Is that right, Duke? Yep. And then it was Rashford that scored. Right. Yeah. We beat him in the League Cup game at Old Trafford. So, you know, we've gone there fairly recently and got a victory. But look at that, sort of like going back, defeat, draw, with our previous win being at home, 2-0 win on the 22nd of September 2019, which, if I remember rightly, wasn't that Cresswell with a free kick, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure.
You might have a point.
Yeah. We keep going back. Defeat, win, draw, defeat, draw. So our record is nothing to shout home about, it has to be said. But I just grab onto little sort of like things like us going to Old Trafford last day of the 2006-7 season. Nobody gave us an earthly. Carlos Tevez popped up and
done it again, a little.
Done it again. Yeah, I mean we can go there. We need to go there with a little bit of confidence. I think if you look at our record in all competitions, it's actually pretty good. We got two in our last 6. We've got 4 wins, 1 draw, 1 defeat. In the Premier League, it's not too dissimilar. It's 3 wins, 1 draw, and 2 defeats. Whereas Manchester United's form in all competitions is 4 wins and 2 draws, with their Premier League form being 3 wins, 2 draws, and 1 defeat. So the records are fairly comparable. Just looking at some team news just to share with the class. Here we've got, obviously, Cristiano Ronaldo. As I said, he made his return to the squad. I think it's quite unlikely that he will actually be on the starting lineup. It will be more likely, I think, that Marcus Rashford will start up top for Manchester United. We know, though, that Raphael Varane won't be involved. He's obviously got a hamstring injury in the game against Chelsea, and the word is that he is out until after the World Cup, which I think he knew straight away, because he was, like I say, he sort of put his head under his shirt because I think he didn't want people to see him cry, which is completely understandable if he's going to be out of a World Cup, which they're the defending champions. Harry Maguire made his return in the game against Sheriff, and he looks like he might be making his first start in the Premier League since September, I believe. We then move on to other team news around Manchester United. Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Anthony Martial, they're both coming back from injuries, and it may well be that they are going to be part of the squad potentially, but they're very, very unlikely to start. As far as we're concerned, we know that Lucas Paqueta has been out recently with a shoulder injury, which he got away at Southampton. So it's more likely, I would think, that Flynn Downs might be deployed as the number 10, which I'm laughing as I say it because it's just like, yeah, okay. But I remember Mark Noble in the 2018-19 during the pandemic season. There was a few games towards the end. I remember him playing against Watford at London Stadium when we beat them 3-1, and Mark Noble played in the 10 position that game. So it's not the first time I've seen it, I guess, a player that you think is more a sort of like a defensive-minded player playing in what is essentially a playmaker's role. It's quite odd. So But yeah, Craig Dawson, just to touch on Craig Dawson, obviously got a dead leg. It looks like, sorry?
If he lets you.
Well, if I ask him nicely, and
Not his type.
I'll sort of like stroke his hair gently.
Wow, I wonder where you were going with
that. Yeah, he excuse me, he is excuse me. It looks like he will be in the squad from what I'm hearing, but I suspect that it will be Thilo Kehrer and Kurt Zuma as the centre-back partnership. I haven't got the graphic for my team, so I'm just going to have to go with it. Naya Vergerd. Now, it has to be said, I thought he had a brilliant debut on against Silkeborg. He was very range of passing. I could see it from the pointing around. He's geeing the troops on, and I saw an interview with I think it was Angelo Ogbonna yesterday, and he turned around and said, yeah, no, he was sort of like ordering people around and telling them what to do and where to go and this, that, and the other. So you can see he's got some leadership qualities right there. As far as our lineup is concerned, I suspect we're going to have Fabianski in goal. I'm going to say it's probably going to be a 4-2-3-1 formation with Johnson at right back, Cresswell at left back, with Zuma and Kehrer as the centre back pairing. The double pivot being Souček and Rice. Left wing will be Ben Rama. Right wing will be Bowen. I suspect. Well, no, actually not Bowen, because I'm hearing whispers that he might be out. So it may well be that they put Pablo Fornals there, perhaps. I don't know. Flynn Downs as the 10 with Scamacca as the striker. What say you, Duke?
Yeah, I mean, just go back to what you said a minute ago about Aguerd. Nagard. I thought he was brilliant, absolutely brilliant the other night. I know I didn't get on to do the review last night, sadly, but I personally thought. I mean, I know he was voted man of the match, and rightly so. I thought he was outstanding against Brain's gone dead. Silkeborg. But it was said that he wouldn't be ready for league action, and especially not against Manchester United. Which, I fair enough, ease him back in. I wouldn't rush in there.
You'd have him on the bench though, right?
Yeah, I'd have him there for an emergency. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily bring him on if Dawson's there, because I wouldn't want to rush him back. I wouldn't want to aggravate that injury. I know he's played 80 minutes the other night, but it was kind of at a canter, Rob, wasn't it? It wasn't like a full blown Premiership game at Old Trafford.
Not training ground exercise, really.
Yeah. I mean, listen. The moment the team sheet came out on Thursday, and I saw that Rice, Downs, and Souček weren't starting, knew exactly what the midfield trio was going to be against United on Sunday. It was kind of predictably obvious. That being said, I thought Coventry also had a good game against Silkeborg. Again, no huge stretch, but still a relatively good game. Listen, regardless of what he puts out, I'll get behind the team. I sadly won't be going to Old Trafford, soon as I have to work. I know you are, though, aren't you?
Yes, I've got very lucky there. There's a mutual friend who had tickets and has now been unavailable to attend, and I've been a very lucky beneficiary, myself and my daughter. So, yeah, I've been to Old Trafford before, although it was a long time ago. I think it was 96, 97 or 97, 98 season. It was probably about 6th game into the Premier League. And at that point, from memory, I don't think Manchester United conceded a goal. And we went up to Old Trafford, and it was around this time that David Beckham and Posh Spice first got together. So there was a certain song that was chanted for the first time, as far as I'm aware. And I always remember we went 1-0 up. Pardon?
Does she? That's the question.
Listen, I couldn't possibly comment on that one. I really couldn't. Anyway, but I remember we went 1-0 up. John Hartson scored, and with the away fans went absolutely mental. Unfortunately, it didn't last. They went and scored 2 goals, and we lost it 2-1. But I always remember David Beckham went absolutely mad at the chant that was going around about his then girlfriend. Yes, that's right. It was a 2-1 defeat, Kent. Yes, it was. I went up there with a friend. We went on the official coaches, and for people that are sort of about 30 years of age or younger, back in the old days, it wasn't all done online where you got your tickets. You had to go to the bowling ground and queue up. And I always remember, yes, it was Kent. It was the Blue Pony kit. That's the one. He remembers. We had to. I remember getting the tickets for Old Trafford away. I had to go from where I was living at the time in Bexley Heath, drive over to Upton Park, and it was like 4:00 in the morning or something stupid like that, whatever it was. And you're probably sitting there, and people that don't, like I say, 30 years and younger, you're probably sitting there thinking, what's that all about? Why are you getting there that early? Well, I got there that early, and there was a queue ahead of me. There was a queue of people waiting for the ticket office to open at, I don't know if it was 8:00, 9:00, whatever, for us to manually get our tickets, physical ticket handed over. Here's the money. Da 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 da. There was a queue ahead of us, and that was how you used to get away tickets in the old days. You had to queue up. There was no such thing as the internet. So.
That is, yourself in the olden days.
In the old days, during the war. But yeah, so anyway, also let's just touch on what I suspect Erik ten Hag may well put out. So I suspect it will be De Gea in goal. I suspect that they will line up with also a 4-2-3-1 formation, which will consist of Dalot on the right side, Shaw on the left, with Maguire and Martinez as the centre-back pairing. The double pivot will, I suspect, be Casemiro and the brilliantly named Brazilian Fred. Absolutely. And then you've got another one, Anthony. Anthony, my God. What is it with all these sort of like Brazilian and Portuguese players that now have really sort of like boring sounding names? I mean, back in the day, it used to be Jairzinho, Rivellino, Tostao, Pele, Garrincha, and now you've got Fred, you've got Anthony, you've got Joe, you've got Bernard, for Christ's sakes. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. Anthony, Fernandes, Sancho will be the attacking midfield trio with Rashford as a striker. Now, Duke, does that strike fear into your heart, or are you looking at that and thinking, we can get this lot?
Yes, is the answer to both questions. Yes, I do believe it is a worry. Anthony cost them what, 80 something million quid, I think it was.
About that, I think, from memory, yeah.
But he's done nothing wrong I've seen that makes me, apart from walking around in circles. There was a bit of a disrespectful thing that he did against Sharif the other night, where he received the ball in acres of space and decided to do a double spin, Rob. If
I've
I'd
heard
been
about it
on the opposing side, I may well have put him probably nine rows back in the stand there. I would have absolutely clattered him. Very, very disrespectful on his part. All we'll say is they're a side to be feared.
Can I just ask a question?
But I also go on.
Where is the line drawn between disrespect and entertaining the crowd?
That's not entertaining the crowd. That's just acting like an absolute dick, in my opinion. Listen, if you want to entertain the crowd, take the people on, run at them, actually beat them with skill. Don't stand there and spin around in circles like a fucking ballerina. You want to go do that? Go do the Nutcracker at the Bolshoi Theatre or something. Fuck off. It's not.
I have to be honest, as I say, I haven't seen it, so I'm saying it here. I've got no idea of the context in which he performed this.
Like I say, I think the closest person to him, Rob, was about 20, 25 yards away from him, and he gets the ball and he kind of inside of the foot cushions it, and then just spins around in a circle twice. And for me, I just want to punch him straight in the jaw for it.
Bit severe.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was I don't know, even showboating, say it was just him being a cock.
Say it as you see it, Duke. Say it as you see it.
Oh, I can don't worry about
that. Right, okay. Shall we do our score predictions? And you guys in the live chat get involved as well.
Let's do it.
So, Duke, talk to me. Away at Old Trafford, not a particularly happy hunting ground over the last probably 30 years or so. There's been the odd little moment here and there. But how do you see this one going tomorrow?
I have a feeling, Robert, we could be looking at something very similar to the he's done it again, the little fella.
Really?
I would like to think, again, Kent, it's one of them. Yeah, just I actually will agree with the next comment in the chat, Rob. After that one, that's where I'm going with my score prediction. Not that one, you spoonhead. The next one after Kent's.
That one.
That one.
Sorry, there was two comments from Kent, so
that's the one I'm going. No, it was the one that you just had from Kent. Shut up. 3-1.
All right. All right.
I actually think you can go there. Like I say,
I do hope this is your internet that's dicking around, because if it's not your internet that's dicking around, it's mine. And I was fairly sure that my internet was sorted. You've frozen. So it may well be that I'm talking to nobody. But if it's Duke's internet that's dicking around, could someone in the live chat please let me know and give me the reassurance that it's him and not me? Because otherwise I'm literally talking to no one and he's talking to you and I just don't know it. Have you got that? Kind of makes sense. So what's going on? Are you still there? Oh, is it your internet that's sticking around?
I'm just checking I'm back. I think it might be mine.
You're
just checking I'm back.
Yeah, they're all saying that I'm good for a change. My internet's been sorted.
No, it's mine because I'm downstairs. I'm downstairs in the pub, so I'm a little bit too far away from my router by the looks of things.
Fair enough. Okay. Well, Freya says it's a West Ham win as well. I don't think we'll ask her for a score prediction. She's probably too young, but you just sort of say to her, do you think West Ham are going to win? She'll go like that.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so Paul says 3-1 to West Ham. Kent says 1-1. Rebecca says 1-1. Phil says we deserve the draw at Chelsea and at Anfield. We have nothing to fear at Old Trafford, and he's gone 0-0.
Yeah, exactly.
And Lee's just confirming that you're frozen. So right. So do you know what? Because I'm going to be there tomorrow with my daughter. I can't sit here and say we're going to get beat, am I? I can't do that. I'm going to go 1-1. Oh, he's disappeared. Now, has he just removed himself intentionally just to wind me up, or has his internet now completely disappeared up its own arse? I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to go. I'm going to carry on chatting to you guys who are still there. I'm going to be there tomorrow, as I say, with my daughter. I've got tickets that have fallen in my lap quite fortuitously at the 11th hour. And me and my daughter are going to go up to Manchester tomorrow. And I can't sit here and say that I'm going to have my weekend ruined and my daughter's weekend ruined by West Ham getting beat. So I'm going to try and remain upbeat and positive, which I usually try to do. Glass half full rather than glass half empty. I'm going to turn around and say 1-1. Whether it's us going in the lead and relinquishing the lead or whether it's the other way around, don't know, don't care. A point away at Old Trafford is nothing to be sniffed at. I know this isn't a vintage Manchester United. I know this isn't the swashbuckling team of the 98-99 season where they swept all before them. This is far, far away from that version of Manchester United. But be that as it may, this is still a team that deserves an awful lot of respect. I mean, at this precise moment in time, they are 6th in the Premier League table. They had a bit of a dodgy start to the season, it's fair to say, but they've recovered from that. Their record is played 11, won 6, drew 2, lost 3. So if we can go to Old Trafford and get a point, that is a very, very good result. I know that you could turn around and say, well, it only helps us by a point, but you know what? I will take that. That's absolutely fine. No problem at all. Phil comes in. He says he was at Old Trafford and saw Phil Neville score against us, and he never scored, did he? I mean, he probably had about a goal scoring record to rival Steve Potts, if we're being completely honest about it. Maybe not that bad, but oh look, he's turned up. Hang on, your internet all right?
A long list of expletives at my computer, Robert, and I am back.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Hopefully.
I've just given my score prediction. I've said 1-1. I reckon we can go there and get a point. This is not a team that we should fear. This is a team we should respect. All teams I respect, especially away from home. You've got to give them respect. But I'm going to say 1-1. Me and my daughter are going to come away from Old Trafford with a great deal of positivity. Hopefully, it will be a performance where we can come away and turn around and say, yeah, we gave everything there and left it all on the park, and nothing more you can really say.
That's the main thing for me, Rob, is that they go there and they do, like you say, leave it on the park. It's not a game that we can go to tomorrow and just go through the motions. You know, the fans are already on the back of David Moyes. It wasn't really placated on Thursday. Although it was a
what
very
do you think about that? Because we haven't
performance.
actually spoken about that, have we?
Listen, I've said it a couple of times already on previous games. It's job done, Rob. He's gone and got the win. You know, Arsenal, when they were the Invincibles, played the most boring football on the planet, went unbeaten and won the league. Job done. It doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be perfect. Thursday was anything but it was a win. It was a 1-0. It was another clean sheet. I make that 8 wins out of 12. Let's move on. That's there's not much else to say on that, really.
Fair enough. Okay, well, just before we part ways and go about our weekend, I'm going to give you the 5 fascinating football factoids relating to this particular fixture at Old Trafford tomorrow.
Is this me?
Yeah, it's you. You're dicking around. Don't worry. I've moved on to the football factoids now. So, factoid number 1 for your perusal, ladies and gentlemen, is that Manchester United have won their last 4 Premier League matches against us. It's their best winning run against us since an 8-game run between 2008 and 2012. Factoid number 2, we have picked up only 3 points in our last 14 Premier League visits to Manchester United, with 3 draws and 11 defeats since our last win there in May 2007, which, as we all know, was the Carlos Tevez winner in the Great Escape season. Factoid number 3, we have lost more away Premier League matches against Manchester United than we have against any other side, which is 21 defeats. It has to be said, though, that for an awful lot of that, this was under the Alex Ferguson era. It was while Manchester United have only won more home games against, who do you think? Yes, it's them, Spurs, 24. Factoid number 4 is Manchester United have lost just 1 of their last 14 Premier League home games, with 8 wins and 5 draws, having lost 6 of their previous 13 at Old Trafford before this. They are looking to keep 3 consecutive home clean sheets for the first time since June 2020, a run of 4. And factoid number 5, ladies and gentlemen, is we have kept just 2 clean sheets in our last 17 Premier League away games, and we have won just 2 of our last 14 on the road with 2 draws, 10 defeats. Duke, thoughts on those little factoids?
Yeah, it don't make for enjoyable listening to, Rob. I'm not going to lie to you.
But like I say, a lot of what we're talking about, a lot of it involves a team in Manchester United under Alex Ferguson that was, one of the best teams in Europe, and for a certain spells of that probably the best team in the world.
Laid waste to many that stood before them, Rob. So, we were just one of those men. So, yeah, as Ken says there, we've won 6 games at home on the spin. We've now won 8 out of the last 11. We go to Old Trafford at a team that are very unsettled as a side. You can't tell me that whatever's going on behind the scenes isn't affecting what's going on the pitch. So, yeah, there's no reason that we can't be slightly upbeat tomorrow,
Absolutely. Duke, any final thoughts before we disappear?
No, enjoy your day tomorrow, my man, and I hope that, like you say, you and Libs come away from that having an enjoyable afternoon.
Fingers crossed. Well, before we part ways, we've got our usual little message. Duke, do you want to press the button?
No, that's all your job, mate. Go on. Oh, you mean just me doing this?
Yeah, just do that. Forged from Iron is proud to support Iron Supporting Food Banks. They are a group of West Ham United fans and friends inspired by the work of other football fan food banks around the country. They collect food and cash donations from Newham Food Bank in Beckton, who supply 7 distribution centres in the borough, 7 days a week, and hand out several hundred 3-day emergency food packs every month to families in need. They are also working with other groups to improve conditions for vulnerable adults and children in the Newham community. They are supported in their efforts by West Ham United Football Club, the WHU Foundation, LS185, London Legacy Development Corporation, Newham Council, the Met Police, Spire London East Hospital, Expedient Security, and a large number of West Ham and football fans. You can help by making a donation to their Just Giving page. You will find the link to this in the description section of the video details in this stream. Thank you for your support. Come on, you Irons. And talking of support, if we might be able to ask you very kindly to like this particular video, comment on it, and share it to your social media platforms. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done so already, and make sure you hit the bell icon for alerts on new content. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you very much indeed for your support in this particular endeavour. Duke, we'll finish as we usually do, my friend. What are we?
Absolutely fucking massive.
Let's do it. Come on, you Irons.